Welcome to Hope is Here. My name is Greg Horn, and we are continuing our conversation with Shawn Reynolds. Shawn is a comedian. It's great, clean comedy. It's funny stuff. You need to go check out his website, ShawnReynoldsComedy.com. Yesterday, we talked about kind of how he got his start in comedy, and he shared about his family. He is the father of 6, ranging from the ages of 2 to 19. So if you're feeling a little overwhelmed, with 2 kids, and you're thinking, wow, I got to listen to this guy. How's he doing it with 6? So, in fact, that's going to be my lead in today, Shawn. Talk to us a little bit. I mean, man, you got to get material from obviously your own family, parenting. Got to be some good, funny stuff with 6 kids. Talk to us.
Yeah, there's lots of material. One of the things that I struggle with as a parent is that I'm not smart. I tell my audiences that I'm not smart. I look smart too, and that is a lose-lose. That is a lose. I'm losing, coming and going on that one. And kids are constantly asking questions. You know, they're always asking me and I don't have like a good memory, and so they're asking me questions about the War of 1812 and the Pythagorean theorem, and I'm their dad. I'm supposed to answer these questions, but I'm constantly like telling them. I act like I don't hear what they're saying to me. Like, what was that? Hold on a minute. I'll be right back. I go to the bathroom real quick, and then I go in the bathroom and I Google it. And so, yeah, my kids, they think I'm really smart, but they also think I have to go to the bathroom a lot. Like, Dad's got some issues. You need to see a doctor about that. You look into that. Like I recently found out that they're called chest of drawers and not Chester drawers. And that's embarrassing to find out when you're 38 in the middle of a Value City Furniture with your family, being embarrassed by the 25-year-old salesperson.
Oh, that can definitely be humbling. Humbling. We talked about some of the themes that you guys have done for Halloween. You talked about the 80s. Yes. What are some other things that you guys have done as your family?
Last year, we did Stranger Things, the show on Netflix that everybody loves. We did all the characters from Stranger Things. That was awesome. And then in the past, we've done Wizard of Oz. Done a bunch of characters of Wizard of Oz. We've done we did Napoleon Dynamite one year. So yeah, it's every year something new. And yeah, we look, and I think it's exciting that my kids want to do it. A lot of kids are, I want to do my own thing. I want to be, Daredevil or whatever. And so our kids are into that. And so it's pretty, I feel very fortunate that my kids are like that, and they want us to dress up with them and be a theme. And so we're blessed in that sense.
Well, it's great just to follow Shawn on Facebook, and he said yesterday he accepts all friends' requests. So, yeah. Hey, we all need more friends, right?
Yeah, and we do a new web series. I don't know if we've just done 2 episodes of the Reynolds Go to Church. It's us in our van. Every episode is really short. They're all like 2 minutes long. We've only done 2, but it's basically just us going to church and just. Comedy always ensues in our van. And so, if you check that out, I think people are really going to enjoy that. And, we are going to church, and sometimes we talk about going to church, and so that's good. It's definitely more on the comedy side. We're not breaking down Bible verses just yet. We may get to that point. But I think people will enjoy that. The Reynolds Go to Church is on Facebook and YouTube, and we just started it, and people we're getting a lot of positive feedback, and it kind of goes along with what my theme is that family's most important, going to church is important, but also laughing and having a great time is what's important in life, and not getting all caught up in all the noise that's happening right now, and it's just it's heartbreaking to turn on the news and see everything, and I'm trying to say let's pump something else out into the world. Let's pump out some positivity and family, and at the end of the day, like, that's really what matters. That.
Well, you're exactly right, man, and that's why I wanted to have you on here. People are like, well, why's he got a comedian on? Hope is Here. He always talks about serious stuff. Well, basically what Shawn just said is that, God gave us the ability to laugh. A verse in Proverbs that says, a cheerful heart is medicine to the soul. And man, there's nothing better than a good laugh, especially when you get those laughters that bring you to tears, and it just makes you feel better. It's not just a spiritual, biblical thing; it's a physical thing. It makes it good to laugh. And I got to just think, as a comedian, when you've got people with tears in their eyes, all the hard work, the sacrifices, the junior high lock-ins that you've done, all that stuff, it's got to be worth it, man.
Yeah. Well, it's funny though too when you said you opened up the episode yesterday, episode 1 on the podcast with me, is you said normally we talk about on this program adversity and overcoming obstacles, and in my head I'm like, and that's why we brought Shawn Reynolds on to talk about his comedy career, because even though it is comedy, there is a ton of adversity to overcome, and there's been many challenges, and it's been a very hard road, and so yeah, it's not all laughs and games. So,
well, let's talk about that a little bit, because a lot of people have dreams, Shawn. They go, man, I really want to do this, but I've got a job, I've got a family, yet talk about this. I mean, man, you've had a full-time job. You're working retail, which everybody knows is a lot of hours, yet you're a great dad. You're good in fantasy football. You have interests outside of just family work and comedy. Just talk to people out there that are really discouraged about pursuing their dream. Just share your story, man. I'm inspired by knowing it, but I want other people to hear it.
Yeah. So I do have a day job, which it does require me to work about 50 hours a week. I've had that for the last 10 years, same job for the last 10 years, and that's 50 hours a week. It's full-time responsibility. It's a physical job, as you know that. And then obviously having 6 kids, I want to be an involved dad, and I think I've done a pretty good job of doing that. I think that's reflected, in just like little things, like the Halloween thing. Obviously the kids want to do Halloween with us. We spend a lot of time at home together playing board games and watching movies. So, and I try to never miss a band concert, a soccer game. And so yeah, that is the question people ask is, well, how did you build your comedy career? And I will say this, it has been very difficult. So there's a few key elements, and one is I have a spouse that supports it, so that's a big part of that. My wife believed in my comedy, and she believed in what I was doing. When I first started doing it, I didn't do it. It wasn't every night of the week. I think that was important. I think if comedy had become that would have made comedy a negative thing in my household. If I love this is a new thing and I'm so excited, I'm going every night of the weekend so I can get great at it, that would have become a negative thing. So I started off slow, going like once a month, literally working on it once a month. So it was a small piece of my life. And then I started getting good, and I would go twice a month, and find another place to go do comedy. So I slowly built to this. And I think that's important, is that sometimes when we are excited about something, we might go a little overboard and just go all in on it, and then all of a sudden our other responsibilities might fall to the wayside. We're not putting attention on our job, which pays the bills. We're not putting attention on our family, and it can become a negative thing. So one thing I tell folks is, especially with the arts, like if you want to be a painter, if you want to be a singer, maybe you make cakes and you want to bake cakes for people. Maybe that's your thing, and that's your special talent. Be careful in the beginning of not getting overconsumed with it, and understand that it can be a long journey. So that was definitely part of it. But the other part of it is just realizing that if you're going to be a family person and you're going to have a day job, you can do this, but it requires a lot of hard work and persistence, many late nights. I write comedy late at night. I think that happened because from day one, that's when I had to do it. I'm working all day. I come home. I'm having dinner with my family, watching a show with the kids, hanging out with the wife. Then everybody went to bed. And then I started writing comedy at 10:30, 11 o'clock at night until 1 in the morning. And so that's a sacrifice. So there is a lot of personal sacrifice. Having to turn off other things in your life that are your hobbies. I love playing basketball, and I like playing cards with my friends. I love watching football. I used to love watching all sports. I used to be an all sports guy. But the last 8 years, I stopped watching baseball. I stopped watching basketball. I stopped watching college football. I stopped playing cards with my friends. So I had to cut a lot of things out of my life to make this happen. And so once again, that's the sacrificing part of it.
Well, I appreciate that you sharing that, because I think people, want to do something that they really enjoy, yet they say, I've got a family, a full-time job, and you've done all that and more, and it's not even a 40-hour job. It's a 50-hour-week job. It requires a lot of mental and physical work. And so I just hope somebody's inspired out there. You can do it, but I think the key that Shawn mentioned is that he started out, small, once a month. Right. You don't try to, how to eat an elephant one bite at a time. Well, That's kind of what you've done, didn't it? Just slowly but surely. And
yeah, absolutely, slowly but surely, and just having to sacrifice some things, and then also knowing, I started listening to a lot of podcasts about successful entrepreneurs, and I started noticing over a course of time there was an underlying pattern that I was hearing in every single one of these podcasts, and I'm talking about like billionaire people that have started major companies, Whole Foods, and guys like Mark Cuban, and the one underlying thing I kept hearing over and over again was all the failure these people had. Like nobody started a company and then a year later it was just like, I couldn't believe all the failure. And like Damon John, who started FUBU, like he went bankrupt, and his mom put a second mortgage on her house. She almost lost her. Like this guy lost everything and then almost caused his mom to lose everything. But then he believed in himself and he kept working hard and then he made it happen. And that was, I kept hearing that over and over again. So that was important to understand too, is that I was going to have, I knew going in, I was going to have a lot of failure along the way. And I accepted that pretty early on. And let me tell you, there was a lot of failure. Making people laugh with clean comedy in a dive bar on a Saturday night is not easy. Let me tell you.
I can imagine. I love that you shared that about failure. Fertilizer to success is failure, it seems like, from everybody. Yet I think people buy into this lie, I want to be successful. I know Chick-fil-A, for instance, Failing Forward, the book John Maxwell wrote. Mm-hmm. We've talked about that and here's some before. And he shares, both Mary Kay Ash and Truett Cathy, the founder of Chick-fil-A, some unbelievable adversity they had to overcome. Truett Cathy, he and his two brothers started Chick-fil-A. Yeah. And then about 2 years into it, after they got their second restaurant, he was in the hospital sick, and his other two brothers died in a plane crash.
Oh, I didn't know that. Wow.
Yeah. And then after that, the second store caught on fire. They had limited insurance, so pretty much a loss. But while he was in the hospital and they were still trying to figure out what they could do to, make the business successful, that's when he came up with the idea. For the, we sell a lot of chicken sandwiches. What if we breaded it up, put a pickle on it, and, 1 million or 10 million or a billion chicken sandwiches later, here we are.
Exactly. And so always say, my pleasure. You have to, that's the other key. I don't know what point they came up with that, but that is critical to the Chick-fil-A success. But yeah, it's amazing. It's just, every successful person is just, it's so much failure. And then you wonder, these successful people, like, what would have happened if they gave up, like, right when the success was around the corner? So that's kind of always inspired me. And then I think the last part I'll say is just not making excuses. I come across so many people that have these dreams and these talents. I'm a great musician. I'm great at mowing lawns. It doesn't have to be the arts. I tend to talk about that because that's what I do, but it can be anything. Baking cakes and being a great cook. And I hear all these people and, I could do that for a living, but I just don't have time. I don't have, and so I always tell people, like, trust me, if I have time with a 50-hour work week and 6 kids to build my comedy career, anybody has time, and a lot of it is just cutting out the excuses. And this is a little bit of tough love. But I do come across people who are like, I could do stand-up comedy, I just don't have the time. But this is the same person that tells me all the Netflix shows they watch. Like, oh, have you seen Orange Is the New Black? Have you seen House of Cards? It's like, you watch every show. No wonder you don't have time to pursue your dreams. Sometimes you have to cut those. You got to cut the fat out of your life. And if you're up watching Netflix till midnight and sleeping in till 11, and maybe that's why you're not, you got to go after it, and you got to cut those ancillary things out of your life if you really want to pursue a dream, such as baking cakes or doing comedy or singing or being a great painter.
Well, I love all those examples you're giving, and that is the truth in love. The Bible says that, and I love another Bible verse, and I apologize I can't tell you where it's at, but it says everything is permissible, but not everything is beneficial. And if you've got a dream put in your heart, you are going to have to sacrifice something, whether it is some of your favorite TV shows, or, maybe you don't get to watch every Kentucky football or basketball game. Thankfully, with DVR, you can watch it at a time and fast forward through the commercials.
Yes, I do that all the time.
You know how to do that. So, if you tuned in, we're talking with Shawn Reynolds. He is a comedian, phenomenal job. It's good stuff. It's clean. It's funny. You ought to check out his website. It's ShawnReynoldsComedy.com. That's Shawn with a W, SHAWN, ShawnReynoldsComedy.com. And check him out. He's on YouTube. Lots of funny stuff there. Also, if you're a business, a church, organization looking for somebody, for your special event, he would be a great person to have for that. Got lots of great reviews you can check out there on his website of people that have had him, such as Dairy Queen. Well, that's going to be a wrap for today, but Shawn's going to be with us tomorrow. We're going to hear about more about his family, and they adopted a precious child. So we'll see you tomorrow on Hope is Here.
CMI is your full-service human resources provider in Central Kentucky. For 15 years, CMI Human Resources has taken great pride in helping organizations and people work. Whether it's employee handbooks or help in filling a position, no job is too large or too small for CMI. Contact the professionals today at CMI Human Resources, 859-296-2800, or online at cmiconsulting.com.